Hi bees, so good to see you again. We've got another week and a new story. This week we're talking about W, and our story today is called Worm's Wagon. Here's our little worm and here's his wagon. All right, let's listen. One day, Worm went to the woods to gather walnuts. He brought his wagon with him. On his way home, Worm saw his friend Woodpecker whistling on a weeping willow. Oh, he's whistling. And there's the weeping willow. That's the tree. Woodpecker asked Worm if he could have a ride in his wagon. Ooh, wagon, worm, woodpecker, those are good W words. Worm wiggled along, pulling Woodpecker. Soon they came upon their friend Weasel. It's another good W word. Eating his watermelon. So many W words in this book. Weasel asked Worm if he could have a ride in the wagon. Worm wiggled along, pulling Woodpecker and Weasel in the wagon. Before long, they bumped into Wombat, wearing her new wig. Do y'all know what a wig is, bees? It's like pretend hair that you put on your head. That's a wig. Wombat asked Worm if she could have a ride. Worm wiggled along, pulling Woodpecker, Weasel, and Wombat. Next, they met a wolf. Ooh, that's another good W word. On his way to work. Wolf also asked Worm if he could have a ride in the wagon. Wow. Worm wiggled along, pulling Woodpecker, Weasel, Wombat, and Wolf in his wagon. Soon they saw Walrus, winking and waving. Ooh, those are good words too, a W. Winking. Can you try and wink, bees? And waving. Walrus also asked Worm for a ride in the wagon. Worm wiggled along, pulling Woodpecker, Weasel, Wombat, Wolf, and Walrus in his wagon. Up ahead, in the water, in the ocean, they saw a whale. See his little whale tail? He's popping his head up. Whale also asked Worm for a ride in the wagon. Oh my goodness, whales are so big. I don't think he can fit. They made it work. Worm wiggled with all his might, trying to pull Woodpecker, Weasel, Wombat, Wolf, Walrus, and Whale in his little red wagon. But the wagon would not move. The wheels were starting to wobble. So many good W words. Wham! The weight was too much for the wagon and it crashed to the ground. Oh no! My wagon! Worm wailed. Don't worry, Worm, all the animals said. Worm's friends worked all afternoon on the wagon. You see what they're doing? They're trying to get the pieces back together to help their friend. When the wagon was fixed, Worm wiggled into it. This time, Wombat, Weasel, Wolf, Woodpecker, Walrus, and Whale pulled Worm all the way home. This time, his friends helped him and let him ride. And weary Worm had a wonderful ride. That was great, wasn't it? All right, let's look for our W things in the book. Let's see what we can find, bees. Ooh, I see one. This green guy right here is our friend Worm. That's a W word. There's the woodpecker. That's a bird. There's our friend Whale. It's also a good W word. Here's our little friend Wolf. That's another W word. And what's he blowing on? Is that a, ooh, it's a whistle. Whistle's a good W word. In the window, that's a good W word too. I see a bowl of walnuts. That's another W word. Goodness, and down here at the bottom is the red wagon. Bees, that was so many things. They've got all of those items in the picture. Let's see if we can count them. Worm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, bees, that's a lot. 8 things? I don't see anything else. Maybe you can see something. If you notice something, you can let me know. I think that's it though. All right, bees. Thanks for helping me with our W story today. Worm's Wagon. That was a lot of fun. Bye.